Hello everybody, it's Jude the Exceptional Gamer here, bringing you another Call of Duty Black Ops 4 zombie storyline video. So the Blood of the Dead Easter egg has been solved, and today I wanted to talk about it. I'm going to be explaining to you guys what the ending means, why it happened the way it did, and what is next for our characters. Now I know that everybody has done this and I'm quite late to the party at this point for making the explained video, but I want to make it anyway because I do enjoy the storyline so much. I'm a huge storyline guy, so it only feels right to cover this kind of thing. But without further ado guys, let's delve into the ending. I'm sure we've all seen the heartbreaking cutscene. It has messed me up. I'm still in complete disbelief. If you have not saw this cutscene, I am gonna link it in the description. I would play it for you, but every time I've done this in the past, there has been some copyright claims just being thrown left, right and centre. So pause the video, go watch the cutscene. I'll be waiting right here when you get back. During the boss fight, we see Richtofen go into the machine, and in turn, this leads to his death. The reason Richtofen had to go into this machine in the first place is because he needed to give his blood to free the souls of Alcatraz and to break the cycle. Hence why in the intro cutscene for Blood of the Dead, when Richtofen's reading the Chronorium, he says, "Our blood, my blood, you cannot possibly expect me to let this happen." Richtofen is clearly dumbfounded here, and I think a lot of us were too, considering this is the man that is always in control. He always is one step ahead of everything. This intro cutscene was the first stepping stone to what we actually had to do in the Easter egg, and hell, even the name of the map itself, Blood of the Dead. Keyword there, blood. That's basically the reason why Richtofen had to give his blood to break the cycle, and it just makes sense from the very beginning of the cutscene. He had to give his blood in order for the cycle to break since the Chronorium changed. Now you might be asking, why did it end the way it did? Why did Night Primus Richtofen leave Origins Richtofen to die and just bleed out, or be in eternal suffering, which is something that a lot of people are theorizing. Now the most likely answer is that Richtofen is dead, so I'm gonna talk about it as if he died because I'm pretty sure he did. If you pay close attention to the end cutscene, when it zooms in on Richtofen's face whilst he's in the dark mechanism, you can actually see that on his right cheek there's nothing there. There is no scar that is present. This is important because Richtofen has a scar that he got sometime between the Giant and DE. This leads us to believe that the Primus Knight Richtofen is in fact the real Richtofen, and the Richtofen that was in the dark mechanism and bled to death was actually not the real one. A scar isn't something that can just go, it's something that is there for good, and in Blood of the Dead, that Richtofen simply does not have that scar. If we look at the Zombies comics, and more particularly at the end when we actually see both the Richtofens, not the Primus Knight Richtofen, just the other one that looks the same as the Origins Richtofen. When we see them meet up and the other Richtofen gives the normal Richtofen the blood vials and he's like, here you go, and then everything is just bang, that is it, it's easy, there's no fuss, it's just a simple transaction, and that is that. We are going to have to assume that that simple transaction at Blood of the Dead in the laboratory is how it's meant to happen. There are a few notable changes, such as Victis being on ice in the cryo chambers. They're in a different order, and also in the comics, Dempsey goes up to them cryo chambers and inspects them instead of Nikolai doing it. So we see them opposites in the Blood of the Dead intro, like Nikolai inspecting the cryogenic freezers, and also Victis being in a different order in the cryogenic pods. What's strange about the comics is we don't actually see whether or not Richtofen has the scar. So now that we know that when Richtofen enters the dark mechanism, he does not have the scar, which is strange considering we're playing Blood of the Dead with Scar Richtofen. If you look on his face in game, he has the scar. Let's refer back to our boy Primus Knight Richtofen, who has the scar. He comes out of cryosleep as soon as the Richtofen with no scar enters the dark mechanism. Considering the characters say nothing to Richtofen at the end, suggests that maybe they know that he's not the real one. Richtofen could have made a plan, he probably saw this coming, and he told the rest of the crew about the plan. Since Richtofen didn't want to die, what better idea in a multiverse full of versions of yourself than to find another version of yourself. Primus Knight Richtofen, aka Scar Richtofen, probably manipulated no Scar Richtofen into actually going into the dark mechanism and doing this task to ensure that the job gets done, but Richtofen also doesn't die in the process. So if the other characters are in on this, such as Dempsey, Nikolai and Takio, then I think the evidence for it is just the fact that they don't say anything to Richtofen as he's bleeding out, and they all just kind of walk off, and it's just normal to them. They know that that's not the real Richtofen, and Primus have gotten to a point where they've all kind of got this emotional bond and attachment towards one another, especially after when Dempsey killed himself in DE and Takio killed himself in Zetsubou. And Richtofen's kind of been there for them, and they've all kind of looked out for each other. I highly doubt they would say nothing to Richtofen and just leave him behind. That to me just doesn't add up. It's really strange because canon events have been slightly altered, and it seems like Richtofen is not even 1 but 2 steps ahead. And that Primus Knight Richtofen knew this was all going to happen and made a plan to be able to save himself and ensure victory. So maybe guys, Primus Richtofen with the scar is actually okay. Our boy is alive and kicking, he's doing well. I think a very strange question is, why does Primus Knight Richtofen have what appears to be the gem from the Fire Staff? Another question is, why does Nikolai get given the Chronorium and no one else? If we look into this, we can actually make an interesting connection between the Fire Gem and also Nikolai getting given the Chronorium by Primus Knight Richtofen. If we go back to the end of Revelations, we actually see that Nikolai is holding the Fire Staff. So if that is the staff that's the closest to being assembled, considering they have the gem, maybe when they go to defeat Dr. Monty, because Nikolai has a soul still, it makes sense for him to read the Chronorium and get a staff to be able to actually follow through with destroying Dr. Monty. Also, considering the power that thing had when Primus Knight Richtofen just walked in, held it in the air, and everything just got wiped out, maybe, just maybe, that is the original staffs, not the prototypes like we see in Origins, but the originals. In the trailer for Blood of the Dead, we actually see Richtofen put his hand in the lava and he pulls out that same gem. So clearly this thing does have some relevance, and I feel like our characters are gonna be going to either assemble that staff if that's what it really is, or just get back on track now that the cycle is broken. To me, this all just makes so much sense, you know, like how you don't see whether Richtofen has the scar or not in the comics, and how he has the scar in game, but then when he's in the dark mechanism he doesn't, and then Primus Knight Richtofen should I say, has the scar, and then it turns out that he lets the other one die because he has no use for him and he's just some kind of imposter. To me, this all just makes sense that, you know, the other characters don't say a word to him and they just continue as normal. I feel like Richtofen has completely duped us, and so have Treyarch. A lot of cutscenes can be taken in one way and it turns out they mean a totally different thing for the story, and that changes everything, and I just can't help but think that this is no different. Another thing in the cutscene is Victus. What's actually happened to them? And my answer is that, well, the only one that I can think of is I guess they're just kind of trapped there, just chilling, no pun intended. And for those that are wondering what happened to the actual mobsters in Mob of the Dead, well, in the boss fight, when you actually buy yourself some time and this, like, you see these spirits come round and this eagle helps you as well, but these spirits come round the warden and they kind of lift him up in the air, and also this eagle kind of frees you from the jail cells. Well, the eagle is in fact Al Arlington, aka the Weasel. This is because he broke the cycle in Mob of the Dead, and he is a free spirit, and birds are symbolic of such thing. The three other spirits that actually take away the warden and, you know, kind of help you in the Easter egg as well, they are the spirits of, you guessed it, Sal DeLuca, Finn O'Leary, and Billy Hanson. Overall, I think this was really smart if this whole theory is right. Treyarch did such a good job with the whole map Blood of the Dead and just how they executed it and all the hidden little things and all the theories that we can make about it. I was kind of hoping this video would be a bit longer, but I actually got my point across fairly quick and I've said everything I feel like I need to say. But I'm definitely going to be doing more storyline videos for you guys because they're really fun to make and I absolutely just love the story. If there's anything I got wrong in this video, then feel free to correct me, or if there's anything you want to add, then go ahead. Don't give any hate, we can have a nice discussion instead about the story because I absolutely love doing that. Discussion is just really good and I love the interaction. But anyways guys, I'm going to leave this video here today. If you enjoyed, be sure to smash that like button, comment and subscribe for more. Make sure to turn the notification bell on as well. Thank you guys for watching and I will see you next time.